Okay, our next entrepreneur and investor mashup. Please come up. Justin Ling, CEO of EquitySim, and Itai Damti of Leverate, who I already mentioned before, but here they are. Oh, I'll get to them. Okay, there we go.
So hi everybody, thanks for joining us in this wonderful spring day. My name is Itai Damti, I'm co-founder and head of Asia Pacific at Leverate. Leverate is an Israeli fintech company, started in 2008, so that's a little bit before fintech became cool. We make it easy to start and run an online brokerage. Online brokerages are the businesses that allow you and me to trade and access the capital markets from home, so stocks, commodities, indices, FX, etc. We give them the entire technology stack that they need to run their business, from liquidity to risk management to trading platforms. I've been based here in Hong Kong in the last 3 years, moving from Israel, and we have about 160 employees in 6 offices worldwide today. We serve over 150 brokers. So that's about me. That's what I do by day. By night, you can find me in hardware and software accelerators in Hong Kong and Israel, helping young entrepreneurs plan their early stage journey, and we talk about strategy, business, and go-to-market. One of the very bright people that I met along this journey is actually Justin, who might make it to the 30 under 30 Forbes list. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to make this list ever in my life. Maybe 70 under 70.
We're going to do 40 under 40 next year.
Yeah. So before I tell you a little bit about Justin and what makes his story special and relevant for all of us, I will let him present himself and his company, EquitySim.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Ling, CEO of EquitySim. EquitySim is a skill assessment tool that financial institutions use to find talent that's hidden around the world. We use simulation and machine learning to do this. So we're working with a bunch of investment banks to help them fill their hiring needs. And we're also working with hedge funds to use the data collected from our simulation to power AI in trading.
Great. So just to put a little bit of perspective to the conversation, I think 2 things that make this story special is that Justin is one of many, many entrepreneurs in Asia, not the Tencents and Alibabas, but one of hundreds of startups that go through a lot of struggles trying to find the problem to solve, a solution, and also a way to make money from that. And he's been very successful at that. The second thing about Justin is that he recently went through the 500 Startups program in the US. He actually spent the last 3 months in Silicon Valley, so in San Francisco, interacting with a lot of smart people and getting advice that he actually considers very valuable. So I think these 2 pieces will allow us to listen to a budding Asian CEO, but also see how Hong Kong compares to other ecosystems in the world, especially the mecca of startup ecosystems, which is San Francisco. So with that, Justin, I'll ask you first, how did you find the idea for what EquitySim is doing? How did you come up with the idea?
Basically, when I was in university, I went to school in Canada studying finance, figured that I wanted to get into trading, and then thought I would go reach out to alumni from my school, realized there were no alumni that were working in trading, so thought I was pretty screwed. Ended up finding who I thought were the best finance students in my year, convinced our university to let us manage $5 million of their endowment, and through that process learned a ton about trading and investing, and basically EquitySim simulates kind of the experience that we went through during that time.
How much money did you lose managing those 5 millions?
We saved a few dollars here and there, yeah.
Great. So what made you turn it into a product? What was the process of productizing your experience and your insights on this experience?
Yeah, so just kind of seeing the pain that occurs within interviewing and hiring within the space. Basically, as most people know, that investment banks basically hire on pedigree. You know, did you go to the top school? Did you have a 4.0 GPA? Which really doesn't have anything to do with being a great trader or investor. So EquitySim, you can actually look at someone's track record, someone's strategies, the way they think about the markets, and use that as a basis of hiring rather than, you know, random GPA.
So who is your team? How did you guys meet and decide to start this together, and how did you get funding?
Right. So my co-founder was lead engineer at Amazon with a specialty in data science. We actually met through LinkedIn, which technically isn't the best way to meet founders. Got pretty lucky. So kind of worked on a few different projects here and there and ended up taking off with EquitySim.
And then about 9 months ago, you decided to do something peculiar and move from Canada to Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
Why the hell did you decide to do it?
Hong Kong, you know, a major finance hub in the world. You know, it was alluring in that it was just so different as one thing, as well as kind of all of the support, you know, that the programs like Cyberport offer. I'm part of the Cyberport incubation program, as well as I was part of Blueprint's incubation program as well. So a lot of that kind of drew me into, like, you know, kind of testing it out. You know, startups is all about trying new things and being bold, and so kind of that's what brought me here.
And what was your experience interacting with potential customers in Canada before you decided to come here? Did you get a very lukewarm kind of response that made you want to try it elsewhere, or did you see Hong Kong as a huge potential zone for you to try it out?
Yeah, at that point we weren't really talking to corporate clients yet, and so Hong Kong kind of seemed like the perfect opportunity to be able to network and meet a lot of these investment banks.
Cool. And tell us about the traction that you have today as a company. How many? So you're a marketplace essentially between the universities. You're trying to sell to the universities your investment platform, and at the same time get those financial institutions to recruit through you, right?
Yeah.
So how many how much traction do you have on both sides?
So we're working with 70 universities. We have over 60,000 users using the platform, and we're working with major investment bank, major U.S. investment bank, as well as 4 other hedge funds.
And I think Max mentioned the number of recruits as one of the main KPIs for his company. How do you look at it, and how many actual placements did you help make recently?
So we've done over 300 placements.
That's fantastic. So these are very skilled, high knowledge people that are actually making money in the platform to show that they have skin in the game, and they can help the financial institutions make money as well.
Exactly, and a lot of them from untraditional backgrounds, non-Ivy League schools that could have never really, or could have only dreamed of working at a top investment bank, who are now having these opportunities because of our platform.
So that actually reminds me, I just came back from a startup ecosystem crawl in Africa, out of all places, visiting Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Ethiopia. And one of the very inspiring companies that we met was Andela. Andela is the company that Mark Zuckerberg famously invested about 30 million in recently. Their motto is, talent is evenly distributed, opportunity is not. So do you see your product as something that democratizes access to financial institutions, that allows people to join it without having previous connections?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the mission of our company. It's called EquitySim. Equity, you know, tying back to the finance industry, but equity also in the sense of equitable. So not equalizing all opportunities, but making sure that they're available equitably to everybody in the world.
Great. So about a month ago, we had a phone call, and I could hear your eyes sparkling on the phone as you were in San Francisco and telling me about the 500 Startups experience, one of the top accelerators in the world for startups. Tell me first about what made you take the decision to get through the program, and how did you choose them out of other options?
Yeah, so, you know, I was doing really, really well in Hong Kong in the different incubation programs, but in the back of my head, you know, I always had that itch to kind of want to see what Silicon Valley was like. So getting into 500 startups was kind of that perfect opportunity to try it out, see what knowledge I could learn and possibly bring back here. And so it was kind of a no-brainer when I got in to try it out, yeah.
And how is it different? I mean, Hong Kong has several accelerators, including some that you actually went through. What is the main difference between what you find in Hong Kong in terms of accelerators and the fountain that you found in Silicon Valley? How do you see the difference?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Hong Kong is obviously still in its very infant stages in the startup space. 500 startups, we're part of batch 20. So, you know, they've been doing it for years and years and years. They have an extremely vast network. basically meeting amazing mentors weekly. I've met like 4 billionaires, and played ping pong with them. It's just like, it's pretty crazy out there.
And what kind of challenges do they help you look into? Because a lot of us in tech today say that if you can dream it, you can build it. Technology is no longer the barrier. But one of the difficulties is actually distribution and making revenues. So did they help you look at these particular parts of your business and improve your metrics?
Yeah, 500 especially focuses on distribution growth. So very, very focused on how to help me grow sales. We went from $3,000 a month to now $50,000 a month. So, extremely talented distribution hackers. Obviously, in the Valley in general, a very large focus on product market fit, being extremely aggressive with making sure that you're able to achieve that through kind of all your actions.
And tell us about a particular story or insight that you had talking with a mentor or spending time in the Valley. Anything else that made you change how you think about your business, your product, your go-to-market?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of all of it as a collective. As humans, we're seeing thousands and thousands of data points like every second, and in our conscious mind, we're only able to kind of absorb just a few of those points. But being immersed in kind of this Silicon Valley of like people like talking about these crazy ideas, super tech focused, allowed me to kind of absorb all this almost like unconsciously. And I think the effect that it came out of it is like this, I don't know, kind of cheesy, but this, this kind of thinking big. I thought big when I was here, but when I went over there, it made me think like 100 times bigger, which really helped me kind of create this kind of North Star of how I see the future. And basically allow me to navigate my day-to-day decisions based off of that.
So give us one decision that you made recently that was actually derived from the North Star of the business that 500 Startups helped you with.
Yeah, so originally we were focused very much so on the university space as more of an education tool. Since 500 kind of created a view of how I thought the future of trading looked like. So now we're much more focused on not only the education or the university space, but basically all retail traders, and kind of harnessing the data that we can collect from these users in order to power AI in trading. So this was kind of a big change in our business that we did over the last 3 months, and really kind of a much, last speaker talked about big, bold bets, so a lot, a much bolder bet than kind of just education itself, and a much longer term bet as well.
Did spending time in the US change which markets you want to tap into in the early stages of the company, or do you still see Asia as the main hub?
Yeah, so now we're, while I was in Hong Kong, most of our market was in the US anyways. The major investment bank that we were working with was Asia focused. But now we're going to be very, very focused on the US as our primary market.
And one more thing is that Hong Kong, like many other financial cities, has a pretty harsh financial mindset for dreams. In the US, you have this rivalry between Silicon Valley and New York. New York is considered to be very practical in nature. What did you learn in Silicon Valley that really made you think that big? Is it the collective madness? Is this the people that you meet every day, the ideas that you see them bringing to life?
Yeah, so a few things that I think are really important, again, is kind of being able to try to predict what you think the future has in hold, and in a very, very long-term way. So one thing that the Valley makes you do is be extremely polarized. So you have to take a stance, a very kind of ambitious stance on what you think is going to happen, and use that to kind of direct your day-to-day. So that's the first thing, is to be like extremely polarized with how you think the future is going to be. The second thing is valuing impact before kind of the bottom line, which I think is the main difference between SF and New York, is the belief that if you value impact first and creating as much impact as you can, then kind of profits and money will come as a byproduct. rather than kind of optimizing for that in the short run. Yeah, and kind of last thing I would say about that is I think it's extremely important to do that with extremely visionary tech leaders, because I feel that technology, can come with good and bad, and we definitely want leaders who are thinking about impact first, especially the ones who are shaping technology and our future.
Fantastic.
Okay, I could see why people want to go to Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
If
it's a
if
thing.
it leads you to make those many changes so quickly. And so thank you for that view. And let's thank Martin, and let's thank Justin and Itai for their comments here. Okay, next.